Welcome back to the Orleans County Corruption Brady List. Today we're in the pursuit of filing a lawsuit against Anthony Bruce, a special prosecutor working illegally and unlawfully in Orleans County, New York. I received a 50H notice, which is the precursor to an actual lawsuit being filed. I called Mr. Bruce's lawyers, and we're going to have a listen to that conversation.
Good morning, Mr. Tony.
Good morning. My name is Ken Ortiz, and I'm calling because there's a 50H scheduled that I just would like to confirm.
Okay, do you know who's handling it, or?
Yeah, if you could just hold on for 30 seconds, I'll pull up the document right now.
Okay.
Yes, it is from Mr. McLaren,
Okay, do you know what day it's scheduled, or?
October the 6th at 10 a.m.
October 6th. Okay, let me check that. Okay, let me transfer you to his paralegal. One moment.
So, Anthony Bruce is being sued by me, and part of that process is going through this. Just how you first start.
Hello there.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Noah. How can I help you?
Sir, I would like to find out about the 58 scheduled for October the 6th at the Hogue Library.
Yep, it looks like it is still that day at, I believe, 10 a.m. Let me double check that though. Yep, 10 a.m.
Very good. Do you know who will be there?
One person from our office and sorry, any attorneys retained for this matter for any of the other people needing representation.
Will I be able to submit documents?
50H is essentially just a deposition. It's an exam. So document submission, I do not believe is at that point unless it is intended to be a part of the deposition.
Got it. Do you know what this proceeding is for?
It is for, let me double check. You are Ken, correct?
Yes, sir.
Alright. 13. This is for your claim against the Orleans County and
Yes.
yeah, it looks like it's just Orleans County.
There's no name of Anthony Bruce in there? Which claim is this for? I have filed a couple.
Yes, Orleans County District Attorney's Office, Anthony Bruce, and Orleans County.
Right, yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
There'll be a couple other ones too as well, but would they be incorporated in the same 58? Well, anyways, thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page and that I will be there with representation.
All right. Do you have your attorney on hand, like who it's going to be?
Or have you not retained one yet? Oh yes, I have. I have a couple interested in this matter. We will be in touch about who it is. Is there a timeline that should be like? Can they just come with me, or do I have to notify you? It would be helpful if we were notified ahead of time. That way we could get in contact with them and get them any information or documents that they require beforehand. Otherwise, if you want to, you could technically show up with them. So if I was acting pro se, at this time I'm acting pro se, are there any documents that you have that could be provided to me that... Just the 50H notice. Oh, so there's no other documents that would need to be released to acting pro se claimant? Not at the moment, no. Understood. Thank you so much for your patience and taking this call. I really appreciate your patience, and I will be there, and I haven't decided how to proceed, so I will notify you, and once again, thank you, and have a great day, sir. If I have anything else, I will call you up and make sure everybody's getting a fair shake here. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Wonderful day. You too. Thank you. Thanks. So, Anthony Bruce is being sued. These are the first steps in doing that, and I want to bring your attention to the fact that Anthony Bruce acted without, any jurisdiction in Orleans County and handled cases where men are incarcerated at this time in the New York State Department of Corrections, especially when Dino Calera. And in People versus Calera, Dino was sentenced by Orleans County Court Judge Sanford Church. During the period, Bruce wasn't authorized to prosecute, and during that prosecution, Bruce prosecuted Dino Calera during the period he wasn't qualified, which was 2021 to 2023. So Mr. Calera's indictment is, as well as mine was at that time, illegal and unlawful. Therefore, it was thrown out. So Dino Calera is in the Department of Corrections right now on a commitment that's illegal and unlawful, and the court knows it because it's the same judge who sentenced Mr. Calera, who disqualified Bruce, who knows Mr. Bruce handled other cases in his court that he, Judge Church, Sanford Church, sentenced people to incarceration via commitments and sentencing minutes, knowing that those men were prosecuted by Bruce, and now has a duty and an obligation to remedy that, injustice. It's going to cost Orleans County by lawsuits, because I'm going to bring it to everybody's attention, including Mr. Calera's. The case in the Hardin matter, People versus Hardin, those traffic tickets are also illegal and unlawful and lack jurisdiction. So how can they have been prosecuted by Bruce in the Gainestown court? So, and this isn't going away. This is not going to go away, and it's going to move forward now with a lawsuit against Bruce. Bruce has lawyers, and, when lawyers need lawyers, everybody knows that Anthony Bruce, not only did he prosecute cases, but there are men in prison right now who are sitting there where judges and courts who have jurisdiction and the ability to do something aren't. So the court's position is that it's the defendant incarcerated's obligation and duty and burden upon him to communicate with his lawyer, who could be accused of ineffective assistance, to file a motion requesting relief based on this unlawful prosecution that they're aware of. The court, Orleans County Court Clerk, Chief Clerk Nicholson, is aware of this. Sanford Church is aware of it. District Attorney Joe Cardone is aware of it. Prosecutor Bruce is more than aware of it. These ethical issues are going to be raised, and something is going to be done, needs to be done in the People versus Hardin case. So we're back, and we're going to be addressing this matter. So My pursuit is to make sure that there's justice legally and lawfully in the Teresa Carlack matter. This case has impacted my life. It has given me the opportunity to take all of this and to do something with it, because my point is this, is that by me doing this is going to prevent real criminals from getting away with committing crime by prosecutors, judges, and legislatures who are aware of what's going on. So if there really was a big bad terrorist in Orleans County under this situation, in this situation, with all of these elements present, that terrorist would be getting away with a crime. And I have a duty and an obligation to highlight all of this so that it's remedied and doesn't happen. So if Anthony Bruce did handle a real criminal, their cases are getting thrown out now, so that a real big bad terrorist, doesn't get away with a real crime. So let's think about those real criminals and all of this process, the due process of law, and jurisdictional matters are addressed. And that includes the credibility and integrity of each police department in Orleans County, to include the Medina Police Department, where one officer, Joe Friends, is employed and out on sick leave while, after being investigated for deleting evidence. Sergeant Joe Friends deleted evidence during an investigation where he sent pictures of his naked penis to a woman to solicit nude pictures from her by using the police computer and the police equipment to do all of this. So Mr. Friends, Officer Friends, is still being paid and employed with the Medina Police Department and still has access to that police equipment, police evidence, to anything, everything at the Medina Police Department. So, and I understand Officer Friends on sick leave is entitled to some type of overtime pay. I don't know how that works, and I could be wrong, but we're going to look into all of that. So the point here in the bottom line is to establish not only credibility, but to handle cases legally and lawfully that are presented and prepared by police officers. The first part of a prosecution begins with the police officer. So that police officer is involved in this process. And when Joe Friends has access to that material, it's at risk. Yeah, it's at risk. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Joe Friends did admit in Berrytown Court in People versus Ortiz, January the 19th, 2023, that he did, while on the stand and under oath, Joe Friends did admit he tampered with and deleted evidence during that investigation, and now should be punishable by prosecution. While he was acting as a police officer, used that equipment to send naked pictures of his penis to that woman. And he also deleted evidence, which I believe were pictures of God knows what. Pictures of what? Of what I've, it's just boggles my mind that nobody in authority seized Joe Friends' his personal stuff. And Joe Friends at this time still has access to the Medina Police Department, to include their evidence locker or, police equipment, to include the computer, he uses to, be the predator that he is. So, Chief, you got to address this. And I'll be filing a complaint about it. I don't think it's right. I'll be bringing it to the community's member legally and lawfully here in this public platform. Sir, the police department needs integrity when it prosecutes, builds cases for prosecution. Sir, real criminals cannot be allowed to get away with crime. And my process to perfect this is to highlight the misconduct in the departments concerning these government officials who are turning a blind eye to crime right in their own office. So excuse me for yelling. I apologize. It has to be addressed, because real criminals can't be allowed to get away with crime due to the red tape, due to the red tape. And there's a lot of red tape here, and we're hacking away at it, and it's going to result in lawsuits against Anthony Bruce, who acted without authority during the period of 2021 and 2023, late 2020 to 2023. The point is that by acting without authority and submitting documents with the court, and then getting rulings on them and decisions, and um, um, bringing me to court, jailing me, in fact, several times. Um, Anthony Bruce lacked jurisdiction because he didn't have authority, which means he didn't have immunity. And now I don't have to really worry about an immunity argument by Bruce for my lawsuits. So Anthony Bruce doesn't have immunity here. The Orleans County's involved and going to be sued as well because they made rulings on these illegal lawful documents and motion papers, and the court was moved and they retaliated against me. And I believe it's all because I sued Orleans County for Officer Caulfield assaulting me, which began all of this. And the retaliation, to the degree where I've been charged for crimes of terroristic threats, to wit, mass harm, to wit, murder, all based on an officer's feelings. And, so if Orleans County did have a real big bad wolf, in its sights, that big bad wolf should be put down properly and accordingly, because the members in this community should not have to worry about the government officials doing their job to protect them. And if a real criminal, like I said, and I will exhaust this, real criminals are going to get away with crime, and nobody's listening. So, we're going to put a stop to that by addressing the judicial and prosecutorial misconduct. And by doing that, we have to talk about the facts. And the facts here is that Anthony Bruce was called in to Orleans County by I believe, John Sansone. John Sansone got in touch with Anthony Bruce, I do believe, based on information I have, because I made a complaint against John Sansone while he was acting as assistant district attorney in People versus Ortiz in Shelbytown Court, where ADA Sansone reported falsely to Don Kepler that I was recording him in court during a court proceeding where there was a witness being given testimony on a cap court session where Judge Kepler was in chambers and not in the room. John Sansone reported to her I was recording him in the courtroom, and Don Kepler believed him and reported that to 911, wanting to have me arrested. The police came because Don Kepler said I was creating a disturbance in her courtroom. Don Kepler then says on the record that she did not call 911 on me, that she didn't know I was involved. So John Sansone lied to Don Kepler, and it cost Don Kepler to resign her three judgeships. And anything handled by John Sansone should be looked at. And if you have an appeal or a complaint about John Sansone, I would like to highlight my case where the minutes will be published about him falsely reporting to Don Kepler that I was recording him, where she reported to 911 an incident that she wasn't a witness of, wasn't even in the room, and herself falsely reported an incident. Well, I guess it's not falsely reported an incident because she believed it. So she believed it was I was in her courtroom, but she lied on the stand. She lied on the stand and said she called 911 but didn't know it was me. And then she reported to 911 Ken Ortiz was in her courtroom creating a disturbance. So she lied. I filed a complaint. Judge Kepler couldn't rebut that complaint and resigned because of that lie and because of racist Facebook posts she posted that I exposed. So John Sansone, then at that time, I filed a complaint against him with D.A. Cardone, who does nothing about what John Sansone caused here. He lied and said I was recording him, and the police were called, and I was almost arrested because John Sansone had a garbage of a case dealing with Medina police kicking in my door, where I sued Medina PD for $80,000 because of their conduct. So John Sansone knew all about that lawsuit was coming and that I was suing them. He had a crappy case, which is why I was in court. He didn't like me, and he lied. He said I was recording him, and he was wrong. I didn't have a recording device on me. So those minutes will be published and posted. But after my complaints and all of this happened, John Sansone went and sicked, I believe, Anthony Bruce on me, where Anthony Bruce comes out of retirement due to all of this and is attacking me, and that it's a personal matter, and that Orleans County is allowing it because everybody doesn't like me. They're mad about the lawsuits. They're mad about the judge resigning. They're mad about exposing Officer Joe Friends, who's a pervert and predator, and also used to be an EMT. So if you have a complaint about Joe Friends or any misconduct, please send me a notarized sworn statement to RAYMONDORTIZ797 at gmail.com, or you can text me at 716-258-8591. Only notarized sworn documents will be taken serious. However, I will take those documents and see to it that they see the light of day. Um, everybody knows what's going on here, and we got to talk about it. And so Anthony Bruce was sicked on me, and now he's going to be sued along with Orleans County. And I'll tell you what, you can't sue a prosecutor. Prosecutors can't be sued because they have immunity. Not in this case. Anthony Bruce does not enjoy immunity here because he lacked authority. And it's going to be interesting, folks. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a first-time case where a prosecutor gets sued like this. My intent here is to draw attention to all of this to bring justice to Teresa Carlack, who was killed in Orleans County on Eagle Harbor Road by a suspect whose mom had a relationship somehow with Orleans County District Attorney Joe Cardone. Joe Cardone was conflicted from People versus Hardin, and Anthony Bruce was called in. Anthony Bruce presented the case to an Orleans County grand jury, and a no bill was returned. How rare is that? A no bill in a homicide, and there was eyewitness testimony from an eyewitness who was there, the little sister. So how did Anthony Bruce get a no bill? And there was a product of traffic tickets being issued by the grand jurors in that case, which ended up in the Gainestown court, where I understand there was a disposition in that People versus Hardin case. How is that possible? I don't understand that. We're gonna keep talking about it because that case is illegal and unlawful and should be thrown out and represented, just like People versus Ortiz and People versus Calera and People versus Hardin. So, folks, that's what's happening in Orleans County right now in this hot pursuit of a lawsuit against Special Prosecutor Anthony Bruce in Orleans County. Anthony Bruce at this time is still not properly appointed. If you read those minutes, Judge Church on February the 9th instructs Bruce to get an application to him, to Judge Church. So that's not how it works. An application has to be, an attorney who wants to be a special prosecutor has to be selected from a list of qualifying attorneys to prosecute who are vetted and have authority, and, like emergent office or whatever those requirements are. And then an administrative law judge has to, appoint that prosecutor. It doesn't work in a case where a judge doesn't like me because I'm filing complaints against him as well. Judge Church is also an eyewitness, a witness in my lawsuit against Orleans County, where Judge, he's a witness and his name is on the witness list. So I've tried to get Church conflicted for that, and he just doesn't want to conflict himself. But there's a lot of retaliation going on here, and it's got to be addressed. So we do that in a legal, lawful manner, and hopefully this educates and brings you up to speed about your tax dollars. And if you have a complaint against Anthony Bruce or an ineffective assistance appeal if Anthony Bruce represented you or prosecuted you in Orleans County or John Sansone, or just please get in touch with me. Watch this video, and it's an info dump. It's an info dump, and I'm having a lot of equipment malfunction, so I try to get it all out. We're going to be moving forward with this 50H hearing and suing Anthony Bruce. I know Bruce's attorneys think I'm going to screw up, but I'm not. We're ready. We do our homework. And, Mr. Cropsey, I read that article you wrote in the Hub, Letters to the Editor. You're saying that there was no evidence of election fraud in 2020, sir, correct? Aren't you an attorney? How could you be promoting a false narrative, Mr. Cropsey? Huh? How could you do that? How could you promote a false narrative that there was no, evidence of election fraud in 2020? As you indicate in your letter in the Hub, Letters to the Editor. I don't get that. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to try to pull it up. And I just want to say that I think it's unethical for an attorney to promote such false narrative and to promote a political party over another, where you talk crap about my neighbors and you say that they don't read, they don't take the time to become informed. I believe you said a whole bunch of stuff, sir, and I would like to say that a lot of people I talk to in Orleans County are very educated, well read, brought up to speed easily. It's easy to communicate with them because they're so busy paying to, working to pay their taxes. And their tax dollars are being abused, Mr. Cropsey. And I'd like to know why you're not talking about local problems, such as this matter involving Anthony Bruce, who you're aware of Mr. Bruce. You see him. You have to. I see you in court, Mr. Cropsey, and I don't think it's right. So there was evidence of election fraud, and I don't promote any political party. I just promote the facts and the truth. So I want to find that article, Mr. Cropsey, and take a minute before this phone conks out. I believe there's electronic warfare going on here, and I'm being targeted. If you've ever heard of the Stingray box, please look it up. Look up the Stingray box. Maybe they took down Conrad's. Maybe they took down that. Yeah, it's possible. Because I can't. There it is. Here we go. Yeah, Mr. Cropsey, sir, claims of election fraud were bogus and debunked over and over. It is sad that so many people would rather write you and display their ignorance about claims of 2020 election fraud than inform themselves. As lawyers lose their licenses and ringleaders are being indicted, they still are not humbled enough to do their homework. That's crap, bull crap. This is a big world. There are challenges now and ahead to tackle and work on together so we can all prosper. I am tired of tired people with tired ideas who cannot be bothered to read. They hold themselves and everyone else back. Wow. In this case, the bogus claims of election fraud are long debunked in black and white. And to make my point true or not, their claims were not the false speech about fraud or the bogus claims in election cases, but about the subsequent falsification of records, testimony, and violence. Conrad Cropsey, Albion. Well, sir, we do our homework, absolutely, and I'll be looking for other letters from you. I'm highly interested in your opinion, and I would like to know why you ain't talking about none of this local stuff. Why aren't you talking about any of this local corruption, Mr. Cropsey? Why is that? Why do you only have an opinion about President Donald Trump, former president, sir? Why aren't you talking about any of this corruption, sir? Let me introduce you to Joe Friends. You know who Joe Friends is? Sir, did you know that there's a special prosecutor here who, yeah, technical difficulties. The special prosecutor lacked authority to prosecute the case under County Law 701, right here in Orleans County. So that case on appeal is going to be overturned. Why are you talking about any of the tax dollars that were mismanaged by hiring Anthony Bruce and paying him during the period he wasn't qualified, sir? I think that money was fraudulently obtained without by false information Anthony Bruce submitted for employment in Orleans County, and that money should be reimbursed. He knew he didn't have an office or meet the qualifications for County Law 701, sir. He also stole documents from Mike O'Keefe in open court. He also threatened Michael O'Keefe in open court. He also perjured himself they're right here, Mr. Cropsey. Take a look at them. Take a look at these documents. Take a look at these documents, Mr. Cropsey. Anthony Bruce, he moves without the court's permission and approval and knows better as a professor and former U.S. Assistant attorney, former attorney, former whatever. He knows better, and there's a reason for all this. It's because Anthony Bruce is here in Orleans County to fix stuff. He fixed the People versus Harding case with a no bill. He all during his period of lack of authority. So how is Dino Calera sitting in prison right now on a commitment defective, illegal and unlawful? The records officers at Governor Correctional Facility know it. So does the court. So does Judge Church, who disqualified Bruce. Why, Mr. Cardone? Why isn't Dino Calera immediately released from the Department of Corrections, sir? I'm asking these questions. We're doing more than talking about it legally and lawfully. So any feedback is warmly welcomed. Any information will be, confidential unless otherwise directed. Thanks so much, and we'll follow up and keep you up to speed in this endeavor. Take care. Bye for now.